I stood at the airport staring at the departure board as passengers rushed past me. My boarding time was only minutes away. I handed my passport to the airline employee expecting everything to go smoothly. Instead, she looked at her screen and quietly said, "I am sorry, sir. Your ticket has been cancelled." I felt my heart stop. I immediately checked my phone hoping it was some kind of mistake. Then I saw a new message from my mother. "Have fun walking home, loser." A second message arrived from my father. "Stop acting poor. Take a bus like you should." They thought they had embarrassed me in front of everyone. They thought they had won. But neither of them knew that the next phone call would completely change the rest of their lives. Stay until the end because what happened inside that airport left everyone speechless. For years my parents treated me differently from my older brother. He received expensive gifts, family vacations, and endless praise. I was expected to earn everything myself. Every achievement was ignored. Every mistake was remembered forever. After finishing college, I worked multiple jobs and slowly built a successful career. Even though I had become financially stable, my parents continued treating me like I would never amount to anything. Every family gathering became another opportunity for insults and jokes at my expense. One afternoon my mother called and invited me on what she described as a family vacation. She said she wanted everyone together and promised this trip would help repair our relationship. Against my better judgment, I accepted. I hoped people could change. On the morning of the flight, we met at the airport. My parents smiled for photos and acted like the perfect family. My brother laughed with them while I carried everyone's luggage without complaint. When we reached the airline counter, everything changed. The employee scanned my passport, paused, and looked confused. She checked the computer again before saying my reservation had been cancelled only a few minutes earlier. I could not understand what had happened. Then my phone vibrated. "Have fun walking home, loser." It was from my mother. Seconds later another message appeared. "Stop acting poor. Take a bus like you should." It was from my father. My hands shook as I read the messages. My parents stood only a few feet away pretending nothing had happened. My brother started laughing. They had planned the entire thing. They wanted to humiliate me before everyone. The airline employee quietly apologized and said someone listed on the reservation had requested the cancellation. People standing nearby had started watching. Some whispered to each other. Others looked uncomfortable. My parents expected me to argue or beg. Instead, I calmly thanked the airline employee and stepped away. I made one phone call. Less than 5 minutes later my phone rang. Everything was confirmed. The company where I worked had just completed negotiations to purchase a business that my father's company depended on for nearly 70% of its annual income. The paperwork had already been signed earlier that morning. I had been leading the negotiations for months without my parents knowing. I smiled. My parents noticed my expression but had no idea why. A few minutes later my father's phone started ringing repeatedly. His face slowly turned pale. He answered one call after another. The supplier agreement had ended immediately after the acquisition. Future contracts would now be reviewed under completely different terms. My father looked directly at me. He finally realized who had approved the decision. He walked toward me asking if I knew anything about the situation. I simply answered, "Business decisions should never be based on disrespect, but families should never humiliate each other either." For the first time in years, he had nothing to say. My mother stopped smiling. My brother quietly looked at the floor. The airline manager approached and explained that another seat was available because of an upgrade. They offered me a better flight at no additional cost because of the inconvenience. I accepted. As I walked toward security, I looked back one last time. The people who laughed only minutes earlier now stood completely silent. Months later my father contacted me asking for another chance. He admitted pride had destroyed our family. My mother apologized for every cruel message she had ever sent. My brother also admitted he had stayed silent because it was easier than standing up for me. Forgiveness was not easy. Trust took much longer. I learned that success is not revenge. Success is building a life where other people's cruelty no longer controls your future. The greatest victory was not watching them regret what they had done. The greatest victory was proving to myself that kindness, patience, and hard work could take me farther than bitterness ever could. That day at the airport changed my life forever. Not because my ticket was canceled, but because I finally stopped allowing other people to decide my worth. Never judge someone by where they stand today because you have no idea where they will stand tomorrow. Respect costs nothing, but disrespect can cost everything. The greatest revenge is not hurting people back. It is becoming successful enough that their opinions no longer matter.